my goal, okay, when I'm working with somebody, is that they will never be outposed by anybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's my goal. My people will never be outposed by anybody.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Think Big Bodybuilding Media. I'm Scott McNally, and today it's my great pleasure to introduce to you posing coach Kenny Wallach. What's up, man? I'm so grateful to have you here, brother.
Hey, Scott. Hi, everybody.
Hey, I want to get this thing started right here. Hold on a second. You got to get the, all right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now we're ready to go. Man.
That's beautiful.
In case you didn't know, I'm a big fan, Kenny.
Thanks, guy. Ditto, brother. Ditto.
I really do. I love your work, man. You know, I met you through Shelby Starnes, and then I had hired you for a show that I was doing, and subsequently had hired you, a few times during my preps. You're like my go-to guy for posing, and
thank you.
I mean, I'm a state level guy. I love, competing. I love having fun with it. I know I'm not, your top level competitor. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, you have given me the same consideration. It made me feel good about myself and saw the good things about my physique, even though I'm just like your average guy. And that's huge, man. I guess the thing is that what I see in you really love bodybuilding and you see the positive in people. And I feel like that's the magic to me of Kenny Wallach right there. At least part of it.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that, and it's, we all start somewhere, and we're, everybody has their own individualism as far as, what they want to achieve and where they start, where they end up, and to me, that's the biggest thing, is to not worry about levels of where people are, treat everybody the same, because you know what? We're all in this in the same way.
Yeah.
Circumstances may be a little bit different depending on what the level is, but you know what? We're all still human beings, and we all still go to the gym and we train and we do what we need to do. And so that's why, like, I've always went about it with the mindset of everybody is equal. From my beginner to my Olympian, I train everybody. I work with everybody as if they're getting ready for the Olympia. You
do too, man.
Because there's no other way. You have to show yourself your best at all times. And it doesn't vary. Like I said, from the first time competitor, I want them to seem like they've been competing for 10 years with the way they present themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and I love it, and I love it. And, when you make people, when you bring people to their full potential at that given moment, there's nothing better for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
listen, when here's what I've noticed, Kenny. My experiences with you, every time that I've ever talked with you, every time we've met, I walk away feeling better. Like I feel happy. I'm in a good mood. You always do that to me. You have this thing. It's kind of infectious. And I see that when I've had clients that have gone to work with you and they get so freaking pumped after they've worked with you. And you know what? Even the posing aside, let's not even talk about the logistics of what makes a good pose. Let's talk about the mindset for a minute. When you can make somebody feel that confident, that's huge, man. Get somebody to step on stage feeling like they're already a champion, man. I mean, that's a trick in itself right there. It really, and I know you're not like, I know it's not like you're intentionally trying to do that, but it is a big part of it, I think.
Well, thank you. And that, but like I said, to go into something and feeling intimidated it could be the worst thing for you, especially like when you're just starting out,
Yeah.
And, to give somebody that confidence and, and to make them feel like, okay, I'm ready to rock this thing.
Yeah.
I'm at my best, and that's why, like, for me, when it's not about winning for me, you know what I mean? It's not the win for me is having my people pose their absolute best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And bringing their, like I said, their body, their physique at its full potential at that given moment, and then have them feel good on stage while they're doing it. That's the win for me. And then winning is just icing on the cake. It's extra.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Because, look, you know how it is. not everybody wins, and it's just uncontrollable, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but when you bring somebody and they leave that building after they're done, no matter where they placed, proud of themselves and holding their heads up high because they were perfect on stage, no matter what the outcome.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. And listen, as the posing coach, there are so many things that are out of your control. A, you're never going to be able to control what the judges, decide, what they want that particular day. B, you're not in control of their conditioning. You're not in control of their level of muscularity. You may be able to help them show that at their best. But yeah, if you were to go in just expecting a win, then and that being a success, then I'm sure that you would probably, struggle to be, as happy as you are with what you do. Because I know that you get a great deal of satisfaction out of this, man. This is not just a job to you.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is. It's my life.
Yeah,
it's my life.
Is. I see that.
And that's where, like, when I work with my people, and look, and not only that, Scott, you don't know who's going to show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know who's going to show up at any of these shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you go in at 100% and let the cards fall where they may. But when you're at 100%, and like I said, you're posing perfectly on stage,
yeah,
then the rest rocks itself, So, but yeah, it is my life, man, and I'm just blessed to be able to do this, Yeah.
Would you, now I know you had competed yourself. You had a great physique.
Thank you.
Had you ever saw yourself getting to this position where you're going to be the posing coach that you are today? Had you always had a love for posing?
Yes. I literally started helping people back in 1983.
Okay.
My first show, I studied the game since I was 14, which was, 70 in my freshman year in high school. And I got introduced to the workouts, and I always liked it, but never to that. And then somebody introduced me to a magazine. Yeah. My sophomore year, and that was it. Game over. That magazine became my school workbooks. Huh. So I would bring the magazine to school with me, hiding behind my textbooks. and that's what it knew. I just knew that it was going to be what I was going to do in some way.
Yeah.
Back then, I thought it was going to be as a competitive bodybuilder.
Okay.
And so, but then I collect more magazines and study and study and study all the guys from, the 1979, 78, going into the Mr. Olympia 1981.
Yeah.
And I would cut them out and laminate the pictures.
Really?
And study the names of these and look, it was, and that was it. That was it. Game over from that point on.
Well, so what do you think about the classic division? That's something that's come up in the last few years, and I imagine that your heart would have to be tied to that to an extent.
It's a total throwback.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So for me, I mean, the way it's now, it's almost like I'm starting from my roots in high school all over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because and I just love it. So it's really cool. Yeah.
At the same time, though, man, I've seen you do a lot of great work with all the divisions across the board. Do you have a favorite division that you work with?
No, they're all the same to me because each one is so different.
Huh.
You know what I mean? So, and it allows me to be a little bit more creative in different ways.
Okay.
Especially when I'm working with the women.
Okay.
I can use my creativity and in ways that it's hard to really describe, but what I can do with different genetics is what I love about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because that's the whole essence of the sport anyways, to pose to your genetics.
Yeah.
And so it allows me to be really creative like that and bring out the best, like I said, the full potential. I think that's the key, is to bring out the full potential of each physique.
Yeah.
No matter what level, no matter what category. And it's so satisfying to me.
Let's talk, somebody in particular. Let's talk like Natalia Coelho. You started working with her this past year.
Yeah.
And she just did fantastic at the Arnold Classic. Shout out to her. I know she listens to some of our shows. Yeah. What did you change about her posing this year?
What I did was I gave her I made her more relaxed looking. I opened her up a little bit more.
Okay.
I gave her more. I brought in a little bit more contour to her posing.
Okay.
You see what I mean? And she was just an absolute diamond to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just really very mutual. We went back. It wasn't me say you do. It was me say here's why, and let's try it, and then we worked with it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, that's how I am with everybody anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But especially with her, it was really good because I got to during the winter. I lived down in Florida for a couple of months just to chill, and so I was able to go to her house and work with her, like once a week prior to us doing our Skype sessions.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we, and then as we got our Skype sessions, we were able to, tweak a little bit as things changed, But I think that's what I did mostly. And she took to it like a fish to water, and worked out well.
So I want to step back for just a minute, and not even talking about her in particular, but just to kind of look at this. It's a very, I guess, if my mom were watching this show, she wouldn't understand what you mean. When you say it, it clicks to me. But when you say like bringing more contour, what does that even mean?
I gave her more shape in her posing. Instead of being so straight up and down or too sideways or whatever, we rounded it off. We gave it more flow.
Okay.
You see what I mean? And it just kind of really, it fit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It really fit. And so, but everybody's different. Not everybody can pose with contour. That's the beauty. That's the thing. Not everybody can pose like that. So what I saw in her is what, from the beginning, from seeing her in different pictures, I knew what I was going to do before we met.
Okay. Because
I got to see pictures of her.
Yeah.
So I was dying to work with her because I knew what we could do together.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not everybody has that type of flow or that type of genetic shape where they could pose like that.
Okay.
That's why the individual genetics is such a major deal for me when I work with you. It's almost like working with do you want to work with marble? Do you want to work with granite? Do you want to work with clay?
Yeah.
Each has their different, things.
Yeah, it's so individual. I get it. It's so individual. So, what would you say are some of the things that you think, just in general, when you watch a show, what are some of the things that you think people are doing maybe they shouldn't be doing?
Well, look, a lot of people shortchange themselves.
Huh.
That's the thing for me. I'm looking at these athletes again from all levels, thinking to myself that they could just give so much more than what they're bringing to stage.
Huh.
I mean, I'm looking, and I think that's the biggest thing is that they're not, again, that full potential. They're not bringing their bodies, their physiques to full potential. And, when somebody has an extra 5 pounds to give, visually, and they're not giving it,
I see.
So that's where I come in. Everybody brings a good 80%, 85% to stage. What I like to do is bring that last 15, 10%, 15% to the stage to bring them to 100% potential.
Okay. Yeah.
You see what I mean? And I noticed that, and it, it's all right, but there's certain times where, that extra 15% that they bring to stage could be the extra zero in their paycheck winnings.
Yeah.
That could be the extra 2 zeros. That could be an Olympia qualification. That could be a title.
Yeah.
It could be a national qualifier. So I would love. That's the thing that I see the most is just short of bringing full.
Okay. That's got to be kind of frustrating, I'm sure, especially when you see, like, if we're talking pro level, I mean, every single person on that stage is genetically gifted,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And so, I mean, I see it, and, I just, I don't really I used to when I was younger. I'm like, oh my God, he has so much good. If I could only,
Yeah.
But now, I'm like, a little bit more to go. Maybe, he'll come my way or she'll come my way, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. How often is it that somebody brings that 100%? Yeah. So we all can improve. That's the answer then. We all can always improve is what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh.
Yeah, absolutely. So nobody.
That's a story of hope right there is what that is. Meaning, you think about it, that we can always all be striving for better.
Sure. My goal, when I'm working with somebody, is that they will never be outposed by anybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's my goal. My people will never be outposed by anybody.
Okay.
At the very, very least, it'll be the same.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the very least, but they will never be outposed by anybody. I make sure of that.
When it actually comes to posing, the actual poses, what are your thoughts? Why is it so hard for people to hit their back properly? Because I feel like that's what a lot of people stick with.
Because they're not taught right.
Huh. Okay.
It's not. A lot of the times you hear you got to have that mind-body connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing could be further from the truth on that.
Huh.
It's, to me, as far as I'm concerned, a back shot is mechanical.
Huh.
There's no muscle buying, especially when it comes to opening up the lats.
Okay.
It's a mechanical issue. It's not a mind body. I can't connect it.
Really?
This doesn't want to do that. My this or that. It's really.
Huh.
That's what I've come up with through the years.
Okay.
Because all the time you hear, you got to connect with it. Think of it. You got to be mind body connection. No.
Huh.
Once you do it mechanically, you could do it in your sleep.
I've seen a video of yours too. And I don't know how old it was, but
it was very old.
Was it? Okay. Yeah. Where you talk about the back. Yeah. Yeah. You talk about posing the back, and it's funny because I'm working with a girl who just had the hardest time. She'd get one lat to stick out, and then the other one was flat, and she'd pin her shoulders back. Everything she could do outside of giving a nice V shape, she did. And I sent her a link to that link. I was like, hey, just check this out. She checked it out, and boom, next day she had it. Yeah.
That lat tape was it's outdated, but it still works to this day.
Yeah.
My techniques have changed a little bit because I evolve as well.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't really it evolves to where I could communicate it and transfer the knowledge verbally much more accurate and better, so it connects. And there's so many different ways, because you have to have so many tools in your tool belt for one thing. Because if one thing doesn't connect, verbally, then you've got to try to describe it another way.
Yeah.
You have to try, and then, so I have all these things in my belt that, I was able to develop through the years, Yeah,
and I guess that's kind of what it comes down to. I know that I've seen people that, I wasn't able to help. It can be frustrating if you're like, you just got to do this. You just got to bring that out. But I guess, yeah, the key is being able to communicate that. I guess that's really, what you are as a communicator then.
Well, that's why my Skype business and my FaceTime business is so well, because I've developed the ability to be able to go different avenues verbally.
Yeah.
To make something understood and make it work.
Yeah.
It's funny because soon I'm going to put out a post of 5-minute lat spread transitions.
Okay.
Where I was able to take somebody and 5 minutes, show them the after picture. I'm going to put up a cool post with that.
That's cool. Yeah, keep me posted. I want to see that.
I definitely will.
If we get it in time, I could drop it in right here on the video too, so that everybody else can see that as well.
A bold and battle-ready focus formula that takes no prisoners and shows no mercy.
Have you seen a shift in what what the judges are looking for? I know people are always talking, about this is what they want to see now. And how does that play into what you do?
That really doesn't affect me.
Okay.
Because I'm not responsible for their conditioning.
Okay.
Or their size. I'm responsible for how they present it.
Okay.
So, and don't forget now, I've been a judge for 10 years in the state of Connecticut.
Okay, yeah.
I was head judging, so I know exactly what they want because we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I know what the judges want, and so, I need to bring out what the judges want to see in their posing, and again, have that happen so they could hit their full potential and not have to worry about that. So, but it's how they present themselves. But, the judges, that's more of a size thing or a conditioning thing or whatever, but their posing is always going to be the same as far as they making them look their absolute best.
Okay. Is there a way that you can either like play up conditioning or play it down through posing?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. So if they were to say want like less hardness in females, then so that's going to be something where you may actually tell somebody like, okay, you're looking at them, you're saying like, okay, don't squeeze your hamstring in this shot or something like that. Then
like for instance, bikini.
Yeah.
Okay, bikini. So so you got some girls that they hit a bikini shot and their legs are so incredible that their hamstrings are practically touching the judges,
Yeah.
So, so you manipulate that. So in that respect, knowing what the judges want as far as like the conditioning and stuff like that, in that respect, I can control what their hamstrings will look like, or, don't squeeze your glutes, depending on what it is. Again, it's all genetic and what they look like.
Yeah.
If the judges don't want to see striated glutes, then you don't give them striated glutes.
Yeah, I almost feel like those divisions, say bikini or men's physique, there's almost like less room for error because you only have a couple shots that you're hitting. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah. Men's physique, you have two poses.
Yeah.
Bikini, you have two poses. So, you screw one up, you're 50% out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't make it up for, an outstanding rear double bicep and a great ab shot and a great most muscular front, blah, blah, blah. So, there's a lot less room for error. So you better nail them, and that's what I love about it too. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that challenge of making something, there's like no room for error.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't leave any room for error anyway.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? That pressure, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that challenge, man, But, so according to what, it's going to be more about bikini than men's physique. Men's physique, you have a certain look and you work with their genetics on what makes them, but, you got to be very careful. You want to keep the waist small. You want to keep the glute, blah, blah. So it's cool, man. It's just fantastic. I'm getting all juiced up.
Man, I've seen you
sweating.
Dude, I see you at the shows and you are on the edge of your seat. You talk about that pressure. I can only imagine, man, how you must feel when you watch these things go down. I've seen it go really well. I've seen you on top of the world. And then there's been times where I've been like, oh, it's not time to talk to Kenny right now. Give him his space,
Yeah, no. And it is. Look, this is for me everything.
Yeah.
These shows, I go into it, it's game on, full throttle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just like any Super Bowl coach or Stanley Cup or any type of coach in championships, to me every show's a championship. It's a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that intensity, I can't help it. It's just me.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just love it, man. And so like you said, sometimes it goes well, sometimes not so well. There are times to talk to me and times not to.
Time to give you a little bit of space too, which
a little space.
I respect that, man. It's, obviously you like you said at the beginning, you can't have all wins and it's not something you can control, but it doesn't mean you're not going to feel it, Right. But I don't even get upset like at the like somebody taking second place. Yeah.
Or whatever. It's not that.
Yeah.
Like I don't, I get quiet when I'm a little down. Like I don't go crazy. I get quiet. I go in my little space. Because if I know that my competitor could have done better up there, that's when I get uptight.
Okay.
That's when I get uptight. It's more on the pro level.
Sure.
Than on, a local or regional level because, they're newbies or they're not experienced and they get a little nervous. But I get a little uptight on a pro level and a national level.
Yeah.
Because if they have been hitting it while I've been working with them.
Yeah.
And like when I'm at my national show or I'm at a pro show, I will literally go into their room or they come in my room and I do polishing up session. I advertise, come to my room, polish up session, make sure you're perfect so you can go on stage. And then if I am able to go backstage and they're nailing it, we're there. I'm there the whole way.
Yeah.
So I only get uptight when my people who have been hitting it correctly, perfectly, and they're on stage and they lose it. That's when I'll get a little uptight. You know what I mean?
And I bet you know what? That's something that probably nobody else notices, because it's not like they missed the pose altogether. You know what I mean? It's not like they forgot how to pose completely. It's whatever little nuances that you were specifically looking for.
We worked on that. We have been working on.
Yeah, that maybe the nerves got to them or something.
Right, but that's the thing. Like I said, at a national level show, I'll get uptight. Pro level show, I'll get uptight.
Yeah.
I won't go nuts on anybody, of course not, because everybody makes mistakes.
Of course.
But it's something that I internalize, and like you said, I just need my space to kind of let it go, and then, just remind my people what had happened, and then we just make it better for the next show.
Right on, man. That sounds good. You make it constructive. It sounds like you don't internalize it. It's not your fault. You don't blame them either. You just recognize, though, that what could be done different, which is at the end of the day, that's what's important, right?
Absolutely. And then we make it happen. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't help to get emotional on a negative level. Yeah. People don't need that shit. Okay. Yeah. If they know that they did something, they don't need salt added to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. They already know. So we say, okay, it happened. Here's what you did, and here's what we're going to do next time to fix it. Yeah. And then we go try and we get that win, or we get that pro card, or we get that qualification, something. You know what I mean? We get that added zero to your paycheck after you win something on the pro stage. I see you posting how many pro cards you've gotten with people, how many people you've helped that have turned pro. Where are you at now, if you know offhand? Right now I'm at 303. Wow. Yeah. Okay, last year I ended the season off, but 300, that's in 4 years. Oh, 5 years. That's 5 years. Okay. 5 years, I have 303 pros. When I did it last year, I ended up at 301, and then in November, after I put my year in review, or whatever, somebody got their pro card at, it was December. Okay. And, I don't put Winter Wednesdays up anymore, And then I had a pro card winner out in, I think, Canada. Oh, no, South America. Okay. This early year, and she won. So now I'm at 303, but that's just in the 5 years. That doesn't count the ones before that. Yeah. Because I worked with Evan. I worked with Guy Cisternino. That's right. Yeah, I worked with Evan his very first till he all the way up until he won his New York Pro. No kidding. Who was the first person that you helped turn pro? I actually think it was Evan. Yeah, you think you're not, because you can't remember now. That's funny, man, because there's been just a long line of people that you've been able to help. So I can only imagine how exciting that would have been. Oh my God, I was out of my skin, dude. I could only imagine. I was out of my skin, especially and again, like the first year I ever competed, he won. Junior nationals, this, everything was going great. Yeah, and then Desmond, I forgot his last name, but Evan took second at his very first nationals. Yeah. And then next year we won it. That's cool. The whole thing. That's cool. So, and then Guy Cisternino, I think, was this year after that. Okay. Man, he's come such a long way in his physique. Would you ever have thought that his upper body would have caught up the way it has? I mean, he always had those wicked legs, but he's come up so much, hasn't he? Yeah, he really has. He's just, and we're still working together this day, Right on, man. 12 years, so he's awesome. That's cool, man. It's like a kid brother to me. I feel like just talking to you here now, it makes sense to me how much of what you do is about communication.
I've talked to people who have said to me like, oh, you can't do a good posing session on Skype. I've heard people say that, that you can't do it. And I suppose that it's that person isn't able to communicate. Maybe they need to take your arm and turn it physically, know?
And let me address that, because that's a really big thing.
Okay.
That's a really big thing, because a lot of people mistake in person as being better automatically than a Skype session. But the thing is, knowledge is knowledge. If you can't teach it in person, you ain't going to be able to teach it Skype, and I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, and again, I'm not knocking anybody. That's not my style.
Yeah.
But I will say this, I have a ton of people, and I will, like last year, okay, 88% of my 86 pro cards last year were all via FaceTime.
Really?
Yeah. 88%. And I had 86 pro cards last year.
It's a good statistic.
Okay. I had like 446 class wins.
Okay.
229 overalls.
Yeah.
Just last year.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that the other ones, my pro cards are what I'm focusing on.
Right.
88%. But a lot of people make the mistake that just because it's in person, that's going to be better. And I could see that. But like you said, it's about communicating. And that's why my online business has been so successful, because I know how to transfer the knowledge verbally. That's your gift.
I'm seeing that now, man. That's your gift then. That really is, that you're able to communicate. Communication is something I feel like those of us, I'm obviously a communicator, and I feel like those of us who are good at communicating, we can sometimes take it for granted that like, well, you just do that, but not everybody can do that. And I think that that's honestly what allows you to do what you do. You can see what you're seeing, but then you can also process it, turning it into language, not only turning it into one language, but as you just said, you can turn it into maybe 2 or 3 languages in case the first one doesn't work. Absolutely, man. You have to have option A, B, and C, Yeah. And, and it's just, thankfully it's been working. All right. So I got one more question for you. Some take-home advice for anybody who's out there right now getting ready for whatever show is hopefully going to happen this season. Kenny, big blanket question here. What's the one thing that people should be doing right now in their posing? Well, I'll tell you what the one thing people shouldn't be doing, okay? Which to me is more important. I think people should stop watching videos on the internet learning how to pose. Okay. Because what's happening is that they're seeing people hitting poses that do not match up to their shape or genetics. Oh. And they're trying to be it without being it. Yeah. You can't take somebody with, a certain shape and you not having that shape but doing it because you like the way it looked on him. Yeah. Or doing it because you like the way it looked on her. Yeah. And then you try to copy it. And if you do, it doesn't mean that's going to look good on you. Sure. That's the biggest mistake I do. They don't pose to their genetics. When you're watching these people do the poses, okay, they're doing it for them. Yeah. They're not doing it for you. Yeah. So you like it, great. If you're lucky enough to be able to look similar to it, whatever, fine. But most of the time, it's a mismatch. Yeah. And most of the time, you're not going to hit it the same way that they do. Yeah. And and that's part of being it, man. That's part of like realizing that, look, if you want to see as like a base, like something to look similar, that's fine. But we're not going on stage to look similar. We're going on stage to look your absolute best for your absolute genetics, so you could bring your individual physique to its full potential. And going on the internet and looking at pictures and stuff like that, that's not going to happen. I'm telling you, I see all the time. I mean, when I'm working with somebody for the very first time and they show me stuff that so-and-so did or whatever, I'll say, okay, let's try it this way. I'll never knock them, obviously. I'll never make anybody feel bad. But I try to give them the different options. And then when they do see that it looks better on them. Yes. Eureka. Yeah. I could see that. I could see that, especially like with classic, like your favorite classic pose. I mean, there's a lot of poses that like you need some phenomenal arms, for instance, to hit the myth pose, you know, and there's a lot of things that you just maybe shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of them. And that's another thing that I think, you know, like bodybuilders are coming up, try not to emulate and try to do signature poses of a certain person.
Okay, yeah.
Because it ain't going to be there.
Yeah.
Okay? You know, signature poses are made for specific individuals, you know? I mean, when Sergio Jr. Hits his, you know, he nails it.
Yeah.
You know, he nails it. But you know what? He has the genetics,
Yeah.
the same as, you know what I mean? He has those type of genetics where he can pull that off. Not a lot of people can do that because they don't have the genetics to do it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But he looked incredible. When he did it at the Arnold, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
and he's growing into that too. Like him hitting it now looks a lot better than him hitting it 2018.
Oh,
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, he's getting better. Yeah, it's getting better and better. It's really cool to see.
Yeah.
But like I said, you know, people try not to do other people's signature poses. You know, it's almost like going out and doing the music that Dorian Yates used to do in his Olympia. You know that.
Yeah.
After he did it and everybody else was doing it, it just paled in comparison so badly. So try not to do stuff like that unless it looks really good and it fits your genetics.
I love that. Be yourself is what it's coming down to.
Absolutely.
And I guess that's the key, man, is play, you know, just any aspect of bodybuilding is play your strength, be it whether you're a conditioning guy, a shape guy, whatever it takes to get in shape, you know, you want to always play your strengths. And I'm just hearing that more now too in the posing is what you're telling me.
Well, you got to post your genetics.
Yeah.
You got to post your genetics. You know what I mean? And that's really what it's all about, you know. And that's what makes it so individualized, and that's what makes it so special, and allowing me to be creative with that as well, you know. So if that's my pretty much answer to your question. I'm sorry I had to take it in another direction.
I like it. No.
But it's the most common thing. I mean, I see it all the time. Whether it's brought to me as, you know, posing coach, or they try it, you know, on stage.
Yeah.
And, you know, so to me, it's about looking your 100% best all the time on all poses, you know. And another thing I want to say.
Yeah.
One of my recommendations that I do, because a lot of people ask me about music.
Oh, you okay?
Am I going too much?
No, not at all, man. Dude, I'm happy to talk with you. I've wanted to talk with you forever. I want to hear anything you have to say. That's where we're at right now.
Okay, so I'm going to address. That's cool. I'm going to address posing music.
Okay.
My advice to people with posing music is you got to keep the audience entertained.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to make it so it's memorable. And the judges want to be entertained too. You know, they love good music. So what my recommendation is try to make it where everybody knows the song that you're posing to.
I like that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, again, it makes it memorable. It makes it enjoyable. People can relate to it. Judges can relate to it. You don't want to just pose to white noise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really brings out a lot. You know, of course you want to do with a beat or blah, blah, you know, stuff like that. Of course, you know. But the thing is, try not to make it where people don't know the music, because then it becomes boring.
Yeah.
And people won't remember it. And, you know, make it fun and entertaining. The audience is there to be entertained, as well as seeing phenomenal physiques. But seeing phenomenal physiques is entertaining as well. So if you can combine a phenomenal physique or great, you know, or a really good, you know, presentation of yourself and combine it with something that's entertaining and relatable, you got a double win there.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I've taken that in both directions. I've gone and used a song that, like, it wasn't very popular. It was like a B-side. And I've decided, you know what, man, if they hear it and they can start snapping their finger, you know, they know what it is. It connects immediately. You automatically kind of win people over when they're like, oh, I know that song.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, because don't forget, you only get a minute up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You only get a minute. So make that minute worth every single second of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're doing something that, you know, that's a minute, nobody really knows or whatever, and it's kind of like, okay, it was nice.
Yeah. And then the next song comes on, everybody
something?
knows, and they're like, okay, you know, and then they forget about you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, so it's really, that's another thing I've come to see lately, you know, like when you go to a Masters show, like the Masters Nationals, that's where I have my most fun.
Okay.
Watching the routines, because these, you know, they use the songs that are popular.
Yeah.
You know, back then, like classic rock or, you know, something, you know, mostly everybody poses to the classic rock stuff because that's what they know. Right, right. You know what I mean? And everybody knows classic rock or something, or really cool pop hit or whatever. Yeah. You know? So that's answer B.
Right on, man.
To the question, you know?
I think that's good.
I really enjoyed talking with you.
Me too, man. Like I said, Kenny, I've wanted to talk to you for a long time, and I feel like I learned something today, and that's in the communication thing that we talked about. I didn't know what it was going to be, but what we were going to do here, but it's just been like every time I've ever met you, from the time that I worked with you to every time I see you at a show, you just have this way of making people feel so good about themselves. And I've seen it, like I said, I felt it in myself. I've seen it in the people that I've coached. And that's a really special thing, man. I'm glad that we have you in the bodybuilding world. I feel like you make bodybuilding a better place. I really do. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, man.
Thank you, Scott. That means really the world to me.
I can't wait for things to open back up. I can't wait to see you at a show. And guys, if you see Kenny at a show before the show starts, you know, if he's pacing around and stuff, leave him alone. But say hi to him. He's a nice guy. He's a friendly guy, and I'm sure he would be happy to talk with you. Am I right?
Absolutely.
All right. And what is it? POSINGByKenny.com? Yeah,
POSINGByKenny.com, and you know, we'll go from there. You know.
Beautiful, man. Guys, I highly suggest you reach out to Kenny. And if this show hasn't convinced you, then I don't know what else to say. Kenny Wallach, man, like I said, man, you're one of my favorite people, period. I was going to say in bodybuilding. I'll just say period, you, man. And I really appreciate your time. I hope that everybody else has enjoyed this. I know that I certainly have.
Thank you, Scott. It was a pleasure for me. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. For another episode of Think Big Bodybuilding Media and Advices Radio, I'm with the one and only Kenny Wallach. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care, guys.